According to Football Transfers, Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta wants to sign Marc Guehi on a free transfer this summer. The Crystal Palace defender is now in the final 6 months of his contract, placing his future firmly under the spotlight as rival clubs assess their options. Guehi came close to joining Liverpool on deadline day last summer, but the deal ultimately failed to materialize. Interest has not cooled since, with Manchester City also reported to be exploring a January move due to defensive injury concerns. Arsenal, however, view the summer as the most realistic route, believing a Bosman deal would represent a major market opportunity rather than a short-term fix. Sources have told Football Transfers that Guehi's potential arrival would not impact the futures of any current Arsenal defenders. Instead, he would be added to increase competition and depth across the back line as the club looked to sustain performance levels across multiple competitions. Arteta's long-term plan remains for Miles Lewis-Skelly to return to midfield, with Ricardo Calafiori and Piero Hincapié competing for the left-back role. Guehi, described as a superstar, would be brought in to challenge Gabriel Magalhaes for the left-sided centre-back position, while William Saliba and Christian Mosquera provide options on the opposite side. Arsenal are also monitoring Valentino Livramento of Newcastle United, highlighting a broader strategy to future-proof their defensive unit. With rival interest expected to intensify, Arsenal are positioning themselves early, aware that Guehi's contract situation could shape one of the most competitive free agent races of the summer. It seems internally, Arsenal believe early positioning will be crucial, particularly with multiple elite clubs monitoring the situation. While no formal approach has been made, groundwork is already being laid behind the scenes, with the club keen to avoid being reactive later in the window should Guehi's availability attract a full-scale bidding battle. Arsenal and Liverpool are among the clubs pursuing Crystal Palace captain Marc Guehi, but Manchester City appear to be the only ones willing to do a deal this month. Manchester City will likely be unopposed in their attempts to sign Marc Guehi this month, with both Arsenal and Liverpool planning to wait until the summer before making their move for the England defender on a free transfer. Guehi, 25, has emerged as a serious target for some of the Premier League's top clubs after starring for Crystal Palace in recent years. And the former Chelsea man, who came close to joining Liverpool back in the summer transfer window, now has less than 6 months to run on his contract at Selhurst Park and will not be signing an extension. It was widely expected that Guehi would leave the Eagles on a free transfer at the end of the season, particularly with Liverpool always likely to rekindle their interest in him. However, Manchester City are willing to do a deal for Guehi this month, and their ability to facilitate a significant deal in the January transfer window rather than the summer could give them the edge in the race for his signature. According to The Athletic, Liverpool have deemed a January swoop for Guehi as unrealistic due to the finances which would be required to do such a deal, particularly as the player would be able to demand a significant signing-on fee due to the lucrative options he would have available to him as a free agent. Instead, they will focus on central defensive options in the summer transfer window, where they could also lose the services of Ibrahima Konate. Furthermore, long-term interest in the defender from Arsenal is unlikely to be explored this month, with the Gunners also minded to explore a potential deal in the summer once Guehi is no longer on the books at Crystal Palace. Rather than a mid-season one. The issue for both clubs is that their stance looks likely to leave City with a free run at convincing Guehi to depart South London early, with the former Premier League champions now prioritizing the signing of a central defender after finalizing a £62.5 million deal for Antoine Semenyo. Crystal Palace agreed a deal worth around £35 million to sell Guehi to Liverpool in the summer before a dramatic change of heart at the 11th hour, and the January window represents their final chance to cash in on their captain. It's been claimed elsewhere that City are intent on doing a deal for Guehi this month and would be prepared to match any other offers. In the meantime, City have recalled Max Allen from a loan spell in the Championship with Watford, and the 20-year-old has impressed after starting back-to-back games, including the 10-1 demolition of Exeter City in the FA Cup, in which the young centre-half scored.